The next one is choice making. Sophia's story, I don't know if I have enough time to talk about that, but Sophia is my daughter. One day I come home, and after spending 3 weeks at a Montessori school, I come home, and as you know, Montessori education is pretty cool. So Sophia comes home, she's a little 5-year-old, and there am I, and she just takes off her socks and throws it down, and I look and said, Sophia, sweetheart, I think you need to pick up your socks. And she looks at me and she says, Daddy, I have a choice. And it gave me a new understanding of Montessori education and also choice making. So basically what I'm saying, folks, that provide an opportunity for choice in your teaching. And you don't have to present information or give all students the same tasks. Sometimes students have a skill deficit or a performance deficit that they really can't do the task that you're demanding. So provide opportunities where you can do that. And I have some slides in there that you can do just that. Okay? Here's Glasses triplets, the next one. William Glasses says something very simple. He says whenever students act out in a certain type of behavior, you should ask 3 pivotal questions, and hence called the Glasses triplets. Number 1 is, what are you doing? Is it against the rules? Number 3, what should you be doing? Notice question number 3. Number 3 is more internalizing, isn't it? It's where I'm taking self-responsibility for my action. What the assumption is behind the Glasses triplets is that students will answer questions honestly and will return to the appropriate behavior. And write this down. Number 4 is something I've added in. And what are my choices? What are my choices? Okay? And that's Glasses triplets. Preventative cueing, you can also use hand signals. You can actually place an object on a table, and that student will know that that particular object on the table means that they need to get back on task, and that's called preventative cueing. The other piece of strategy is visualization and relaxation. Often we don't do this a lot, folks. Kids have a great imagination. They want to be taken to different places on virtual tours. No, not virtual, but through imaginative tours. It's very, very cheap, really. Just get them to shut their eyes, okay, and just help to move that process along, imagining them at the beach, imagine them flying and soaring, just helping them to de-escalate. This would work really well with someone who's really stressed, has so much of anxiety, so much of fear, just takes a whole lot of pressure from their system. Focus on the positive and try to regulate those emotions. You'll also find that students will also test you, okay? And testing of you is just a sign that they're frustrated. Okay? And the second goal of testing you is to get revenge for something that they want. How do you manage testing? Number 1 is, again, no talking, no emotion. Be gentle, but be assertive. Okay? The next piece I want to share with you is Cantor's broken record. This one is one of my favorite because you actually do exactly what Cantor says. You sound like a broken record. For example, do we have a Connie here? Can anybody be a oh, look at that.
No. Okay.
And can we have Mike? All right. Who'd like to be Mike? Go ahead. All right, Connie, I want you to act this as if you are really acting, and you're going to get the Tony Oscar Award after this.
Oh, no.
All right. And here we go.
I need it on the screen.
Uh-huh.
Go to the PowerPoint. All right. Mike, stop calling out answers and raise your hand if you want to answer the questions.
But I really do know the right answer. It is not fair.
That is not the point. Stop calling out answers and raise your hand if you want to answer the questions.
All right, thank you very much. And now if Mike continuously badges, Connie would still state the same sentence over and over and over again. You will not deviate to another thought or another pattern or another sentence or something. You will just say it over and over again. The assumption is after you hear it so many times, it becomes reinforced, okay? Active listening is very, very important. Remember that in your listening, that sometimes you could cause a behavior problem if you're not a good listener. If you're not a good listener, it's time you take in 6 things that I'd like to teach you today. Is that, remember, listen without judging. Sometimes silence can give you a lot of good information. Non-verbal cueing, nodding your head, focusing, being involved. Separate the behavior from the person. We talked about that. Using non-judgmental questions. Reflect back the feelings. This is what I think I hear you say. In your feeling, you must be feeling sad. You must be feeling happy. You must be feeling whatever. Okay? So you got to do reality perceptions checks. And the end, number 6, is brainstorm. The greatest solution that comes from anybody is if the solution is thought by that person, so they feel a whole lot more empowered. Something else you need to do is what I call is iceberg analysis. Every behavior that's produced is actually the tip of the iceberg. If you can think of an iceberg, if you ever know what an iceberg looks like, you'll know an iceberg is right at the top. And you see it, it's visible. And when it's visible, you see that type of behavior. You observe it in your classroom. Comes out with anger, comes out with frustration, lashing out, this, that, you know. But what's below the waterline is often ignored. So that's why I'm saying is that what is below the waterline? What's causing this to happen? Usually, any type of anger, and if you do a waterline, below the waterline assessment, every piece of anger, according to psychology, has embedded below the waterline, which is a huge piece of ice, is fear. Fear of something. It could be something as simple as eliminating a fear that can cause and help this person not feel the anger. The other piece is low profile techniques. I want you to refer to your handout, and your handout on the low profile technique, which you have in your packet. And it is something that I've researched, that I found that teachers do not put a lot of effort into systematically thinking about these low profile techniques. And you have this information on there. And I'll read some of them. For example, these low profile techniques, if you have them in place, the assumption is that you are going to minimize or eliminate possible behavior problems from taking place. In your classroom, you've got to ask yourself the following questions. Do you scan the classroom regularly for disruptive behavior? Do you call on students by their names, something as simple as that? Do you review your classroom rules? Do you focus on instructional activities? Do you use praise and encouragement often? Does your lesson match student interest? Do you give directions slowly and distinctly? And you can read through that, and it's sort of a wake-up call on trying to do more of these things. And you will see that if you start to really conscientiously engage yourself on items in there, you'll start to see results and improvement with behavior management. The elusive Koch pass, also, I put this down there because of one thing, and that one thing is that sometimes rethink your reinforcers. I was down in one of the school systems working, and they had this Koch pass as a reinforcer, but the problem was the student did not have money to get the Koch. So rethink the Koch pass. Cultural dissonance. If you are dealing with a minority student, there might be a cultural dissonance or cultural misunderstanding between you and the student. What I want you to work on is a thing called cultural synchronization. Resilience theory is something I want to share with you today, is that it works on the assumption that every child in the middle school will bounce back, irrespective of adverse condition. A study was done in 1955 to share this. And what they found is that resiliency theory is that the ability to bounce back despite where they come from, who they are, socioeconomic status, all of the life circumstances, they will bounce back. And in the resilience theory, we have just two things. One is caring adult and adult supports. And lastly, I just want to leave you with my contact information. If there's anything else you would like, feel free to contact me. And I thank you for being here with us today. Have a good day.
Thank you, Dr. Zaf Khan. Thanks also to the MTSU students who joined us in the studio today. I'd like to remind our site facilitators to please have today's participants complete session evaluation forms. If our cable or webcasting viewers would like to give us feedback about today's program, they may complete a program evaluation form online at www.mtsu.edu/ITSC. You may also download a copy of the PowerPoint slides and the handouts that went with today's program by visiting our website. If If you'd like a free video copy of today's program, send us an unused VHS tape or a -R blank DVD in a pre-addressed stamped mailer. We'd be happy to dub a copy for you free of charge and mail it back to you. For details about getting your free video, contact us by email at vmoxley@mtsu.edu. We ask teachers to limit themselves to 2 video requests per semester. Please reference program number at the bottom of your screen in making your request. And please be patient. It takes us several weeks to edit our programs and get them ready for distribution. Before we sign off, I'd like to thank our technical crew and support staff. I'd like to thank the Education Resource Channel at Middle Tennessee and our cable partners across the state and in Huntsville. As always, I'd like to thank our site facilitators, but most of all, I'd like to thank the teachers who took time out of their busy schedules to join us for today's program. Thanks.